Hello and welcome. Another day, another show from In the Money Media. Today we are covering Sunday at Oaklawn Park for our friends over at twinspires.com. Make sure you go to twinspires.com and check out all the tournaments they have coming up. Great opportunity to get yourself qualified for the newest major in horse racing tournaments, the Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge, and great stuff along the way, including events on Sunday. Go to twinspires.com, click the tournaments tab, see all the info. One of the names you might see on the leaderboard, because he's an avid and successful contest player himself. He's also a frequent guest on our airwaves and a co-founding partner of 10 Strike Racing, joins us now. He's Clay Sanders. Clay, what's the latest?
Just excited for this card at Oaklawn on Sunday. They're trying out Sunday instead of Saturday. I guess they got snowed out last year and ran on Sunday, and it was successful. So if it worked once, let's try it again. Excited for it, and I think it's a good card.
It's the right time of year, right, to experiment with a Sunday when you're not competing with Olympics, you're not competing with NFL. Like I think it's unusual, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And from a content creator point of view, I absolutely love it to get some stuff off. It's such a busy Saturday, but I don't mind having a reason to tune in on a Sunday as well. Was I correct? Have you been participating much in these Twin Spires contests, or do we need to twist your arm and get you going?
No, I've participated the actual last qualifier at Oaklawn. I got my first KDBC seat. So yes, I've been
Fantastic.
playing. I'm a big supporter. I'll probably play the Rebel qualifier on Sunday. I like this card a little bit, and take another swing at it. Got to get two. So, I don't want to pay the $5,000, so maybe I can work my way there.
That's a great point. I mean, why pay $5 when you can potentially pay $800 in this Sunday Rebel qualifier and get it done that way? Cash available as well in this contest. Let's do it this way. We'll start by going through the late pick 5. Obviously, those races probably critical for the contest, but then maybe we'll ask you for a spot play or two underneath. But actually, before we get to the ins and outs of the handicapping, we have you listed up there as the co-founder of 10 Strike Racing. 10 Strike, I always say you guys are the founding partner, the first people who ever said, hey, we want to support your podcast. Would love to hear just what's going on with the operation. What's the latest with the purple and black?
Well, the horse we are most excited about this spring is a filly, Agrippina, that was supposed to run in the Rachel Alexandra. She got a little cough in that race. We had to send her up to Kentucky and give her a little hyperbaric treatment, so we didn't get to run in the Martha Washington. We thought she might be a fringy Oaks type filly. We've already got her back to Oaklawn, so maybe we'll get her in an allowance race in the next couple weeks. She stayed in light training, so maybe we won't miss too much time. But she's probably the horse we're most excited about. We have a horse on this Sunday card, Northern Chill, that we think has some ability. And then we just got a lot of young horses that, are, coming along a little later than normal. And hopefully we'll see up in Saratoga in a winter circle.
I like the sound of that. All right, let's go to race number 8. We got a bunch of maiden races. These are 3-year-olds going 6 furlongs. How do you want to light this candle, my friend?
Well, first, I think we want to start with by talking a little bit about the track profile and bias lately.
Love that, yeah.
I think when I've talked to you a lot, I always say that the Oaklawn dirt is the most fair race surface in the U.S. But last weekend, we had a pretty extreme inside speed bias that is the strongest I've seen in probably 15 years. So I wanted to note that. Yesterday, I watched, we had a lot of ones winning early. It seemed to maybe even out a little bit late, but you still wanted to be close. So I think everyone needs to pay close attention. I'll be watching very closely today here on Saturday to, get ready for Sunday. Because if we were doing this preview ahead of last weekend's card, it would have been totally thrown out the window with the bias. So I just want people to keep that in the back of their mind. I'm going to have that. I'm going to factor in that there is some bias, but there are some horses that I'm going to like that are coming from off the pace. So we just got to be a little light on our feet and pay attention to how the track's playing. But in this first race, race 8, we got 3 maiden races in this pick 5, which they didn't do us any favors. We got the 2 stakes and then 3 maidens, which is not my favorite. But the horse that's probably going to take the most play is number 6, Silver Syndicate. It's owned by Louis Sella, the owner of Oaklawn, and his partners Dave Portnoy with Go Gray Stables. This horse was very well thought of on debut. Ran better than it looks. Had a lot of speed early, which have to keep in mind with the way this track's playing. typically a horse that I want to play against. Ron Moquette is 0 for 45 with maiden second-time starters, and he's 5% on the meet. This is a guy that primes all of his horses to win at Oaklawn, and he's just not getting it done. Now, maybe the reversion to the mean, he'll get hot. I mean, he's typically a 15 to 20% trainer at Oaklawn, but certainly has not been getting it done.
It's not you or me. We can just power right through it. Sounds like it was you. Don't worry. If you can turn it off, we'll just keep rocking and rolling, though. I don't want to make Ray have to edit on a Saturday morning.
Sorry about that.
Mute yourself while you figure that out, and I'll filibuster a minute because I have. Or you got it sorted.
Here we go. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Silver Syndicate. I mean, there has been this phenomenon that we've discussed on some other shows too about these go graze horses getting hammered, right? I mean, they've definitely been catching money, presumably the Portnoy effect happening there. But I mean, this one just so logical. And I mean, my read is that a guy like Moquette, he's been super unlucky too, right? When you see 5 wins, but 13 seconds and 14 thirds, it's just like the wins are going to start coming any second, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly fair. I mean, I think the second-time starter is not his strength. I definitely feel like he wants to win. You know, this is his first horse he's ever had for Dave. I think this is on a normal track at Oaklawn, I would be dead against this horse because I don't think speed is where you really want to be on these sprints. But I'm gonna keep this horse probably on sides, basically based on the track. If things change and it evens out, maybe I'll go against. But certainly a horse that showed talent, ran better than it looked. The other horse that probably the other 2 horses I really want to use is number 3, Fancy Fairlane for Greg Foley. This horse ran second to Golden Tempo, who's pretty nice horse for Cherie that won this race and came back and won the next stake at not the Risen Star, but the I'm drawing a blank at their first stakes race.
Lecomte.
The Lecomte. There you go. I knew I had you here for a reason, Pete. So obviously that horse has some talent. They must think enough of this horse. They're coming up for the big money at Oaklawn. I would prefer if this race was a little longer. McKenzie's, I really like them stretching out, but this horse has enough speed. Early time for him 105, so should be close. Probably the sneaky horse, I think, a little bit is the number 8 Market Runner for Tom Amos. Obviously, Tom thinks this is a router. He's routed this horse 3 times. Has had unfortunate trips, wrong part of the track, against biases in all 3 starts. But you look at Tom's numbers from route to sprint, 31%. That's pretty solid. So maybe he really didn't know what he had. And normally I trust good trainers like this, but maybe he really was clueless on what he had here, and we got a sprinter. I think this horse will get lost a little bit and is interesting. The other horse that might use as a B or C is Munning's Challenge for Brad Cox. Brad typically is better second time out. This horse has been training well, so I don't want to totally get beat by this horse. Munnings are typically early win types, so has the pedigree to win early. Has shown some speed in his works, has a bullet, so maybe starting out there close to the rail might be the horse. But I could potentially see this horse hooking up with Silver Syndicate early and maybe setting it up for the 3 or 8.
Amongst those top selections you mentioned, 6, 3, and 8, how would you rank them? Are they all A's, and who would be the top pick?
So right now, I'm probably going to make the 8 Market Runner my top pick. Right now, I'm going to probably go 8, 3, 6 is A's, and the 2 is B. Now, the 6 Silver Syndicate, I may move down if the track is more fair. If we continue to see speed winning, I'm going to have to keep that one up there on the A line.
Makes perfect sense. First stake of the day is the grade 3 Honeybee for the 3-year-old fillies, going 1 mile and a 16th on the dirt. Who do you like in here?
So this is where I'm going to try to get creative. I'm going to try to beat the 2 chalks on the outside, Explora, and take him by the win for Kenny McPeak. I don't have anything major against Explora. The one thing I don't like is that you talk about a filly that was talented at 2, but just seems to not have stepped forward at 3.
Yeah.
So, this horse has some speed. So that will, if she's alone on the lead after the first quarter, I'm going to be ripping up tickets. But I mean, first off, Baffert has never shipped fillies into these Oaklawn preps. So that makes me scratch my head a little bit. What's the story there? It's never been his move. this horse is going to be extremely overbet. Everyone's going to see the second in the Breeders' Cup. They're going to see Baffert, and I see this horse going off at 4-5 when I don't think she's any faster than some of these other horses. So, yeah, is she the most likely winner? Probably, but this is a filly I'm happy to oppose and try to get paid in the pick 5. So the other filly, the undefeated filly for Kenny McPeak, which I'm curious how they're going to bet her because she is not very fast either, but she has those ones. She seems to have speed. So I wonder. So for Explore to get beat, I'm going to need somebody on the inside to at least protect the rail a little bit. And I think 9 and 10 may hook up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they hook up and might set it up for my top selection here in this race, which is going to be Newtown Pike for my good friend Lindsey Schultz. I think this horse ran really well last time, did not get a great trip, was wide, and almost got there, got beaten in the neck. I think if the race sets up like I hope, she's going to get the setup for this filly, and I think we'll still get a good price. The other horse I'm kind of speculating a little bit on is the number 2, Sneaky Good, for the Dangerous Connections of Brad Cox, Irad Ortiz. I think this filly is not incredibly fast yet, but Brad thinks enough of her. Has put her in a stakes race second time out, put her in the grade 3. I think she's bred to be okay going longer with Into Mischief and Tonalist under. I think this might be the sneaky horse drawn inside, might sit behind that Speed Duel and trip out.
I like it. 4-2, taking on the big favorites in the Honeybee. Agree with everything you said about Lindsey Schultz. Does a terrific job. Underrated, I would say. 10-1 the morning line. Maybe we don't get all of that, but hey, 6, 8, those would still be acceptable prices. Is that about right? I mean, do you have a threshold at which would be too low for Newtown Pike, or is it sort of going to row in with her and just hope for the best?
Well, I mean, that's a fantastic question. I think they're going to flow higher. I think they're going to come for this Baffert. Oaklawn people, they just see Baffert and they just send it in. I see Baffert going off at 4-5. So I think those horses float up. Maybe the Irad Cox money gets a little hot. I would not want to take her less than 5-1 because you're asking this horse to stretch out and do a couple things. You don't want to take a short price on horses doing something for the first time. The other horse that you might want to keep in the C line is Counting Stars. That was, the huge 3-5 favorite in the Martha Washington. She ran too bad to believe. I just, I don't know what to think of Cassie bringing her back on the pretty short rest here. He, says he doesn't know what happened. She obviously has some talent, and I don't think she'll be 15-1, but, if some people better at 3-5, why wouldn't you take her at 10-1 to see if she can rebound?
That's a classic angle for sure.
Yeah, and the other horse that is interesting, and I bet her pretty good last time was the other Cassie. What's her name? Why am I drawing? I can't find her here.
I'll get it.
Search Party.
Search Party, the 6 runner.
So I liked her last time, and she won, and I would have been preferred Newtown Pike to win, but I did have a nice exacta that paid really well. I don't like that they did not work this filly since that race. That is a big question mark for me. If you look at Cassie, he worked Search Party, and then he worked, not Search Party, but Counting Stars. And he worked his 2 Rebel horses all since they all ran on that Friday. He did not work Search Party. So I think, I don't know, that gives me a little bit of pause on a filly I like a little bit. I will point out she didn't improve her buyer number when she won the stake, which is another question mark. But, she's definitely a talented horse.
You can definitely throw runners like that in some combos if you're willing to stand against those 2 dominant figures likely at the top of the market. It will be fascinating to see what the market does with Taken by the Wind. I get why the morning line maker made her 5-2, but if you were just looking at figures, she's like 8-1. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I think you guys say a lot of people like all the ones on the PPs. Yep. Kenny gets bet at Oaklawn. He's had some success. So I like to poke a lot of fun at the morning line maker at Oaklawn, but they might be right here.
We'll see how it plays out. And that's also just a great point that you made, generally speaking, about following throughout the card to see if that bias is still in effect. Let's move on, though, to the hinge of this late pick 5. Race number 10, we've got 3-year-old maiden special weights, 110,000 in the pot. going 1 mile and a 16th. Where did you land in here?
I mean, this is a terrible race, and trying to figure out who's going to win this thing is nearly impossible. Probably the most talented horse is Banksy on in the 10 hole, but he's stretching out, doesn't have a lot of speed, which is going to be potentially playing against the track, and might be a short price. Similar to the Cassie in the last race, hasn't worked since the last race, which gives me a little bit of pause. But I'm not dead set against. But honestly, I'm going to use a lot of these. I'm going to play against the number 2 for Brad Cox. That will probably get bet with Brad and Irad. Just the horse hasn't shown a whole lot. They're hoping that a change of venue works here, but this will be the short price in this race I'm going to go against. But I'm going to use the one that for Chris Davis with the red hot Christian Torres starting on the rail, had a fast pace last time. They're taking the blinkers off, but maybe that horse can sit on that rail and take them a long way. I'm going to use the other Asmussen, has some speed, maximum effort. This has got a sun on, so it's not their main horse in here. I think the 4 for Mac Robinson has a chance. I'm going to also use Mr. Fancy Pants for the number 6 for Norm. This horse has some speed. So, I'm hoping maybe one of these longer price horses gets out there on the lead. The number 8, Rocky Raccoon, getting Lasix for the first time. DeVito thought this horse was a router first time out. DeVito's known for his sprinters, but I've heard a little bit of buzz about this horse in the mornings. And then, like I said, Banksy before. The 11 on the outside, not well posted, and a horse they paid $1.7 million for. That's been probably a huge disappointment for them, Dragones. I'm going to keep him on sides as well. I'm not crazy about this horse. Would not play it at a short price, but Jose knows what he's doing, and the horse, against this group may have found his friends.
I'm going to write it down. 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11.
That's
the folks perfect. I send our In the Money Plus notes to. No real. I'm going to assume just no real top pick.
Not really. Maybe if you had to hold a gun to my head, I might bet the 1.
Okay, we'll leave it like that then in the notes. Let's go to the race that gives the day its name. The Grade 2 Rebel sounds like Bravaro is going to run today. We record this on Saturday in Florida, so he will be scratched. That's going to change the morning lines. We've got the return to the races of Litmus Test. Morning line maker got very aggressive with blackout time, making him 8-5 to Litmus Test is 7-2. I assume they'll be a lot closer in the betting. Actually, I wrote in the article I wrote for this over at theraces.com that I think Litmus Test will go as a favorite. We'll see if I'm right about that. Do you think it's going to be one of these big, what I'm guessing are going to be the big 2, the dominant 2 in the market, or can you pull in something at a price here?
Well, I'm going to use a price like as a C, but I think you're right. I think Litmus Test will be bet. Baffert at Oaklawn, it's going to happen. And you also have blackout time coming off the layoff, which will give some people some pause. So I think I'm going to put 80% of my money coming through Litmus Test. I typically try to fade these Bafferts. He's been ice cold since he had his positive at Churchill. He's been ice cold at Oaklawn. Has burned so much money. Going into this card, this was a horse I really wanted to play against, but I just think that he's starting out on the rail. Pratt's going to send, and if the bias is there at all, I just think you have the better horse here. This isn't a Baffert monster that I'm going to be betting to win at under 3-2, but I just think he's better than these. Class President's a little interesting, but he's stretching out. I think he's going to get bet too. Do you want to take a short price and gamble? Does that horse want to go long? Blackout time, the workout pattern seems a little odd. They've been really weird how they've handled this horse. Obviously, I think he's the second most likely winner of this race. He could be any kind, but I just think probably if you got in Kenny's head, he's probably trying to get this horse. This is a building block race for him. He doesn't have him cranked here. I think he's got bigger fish to fry down the road. And I think that this horse will be the one to probably bet next time out in the Arkansas Derby or the Bluegrass. I think that'll be the time for him. But certainly he could win here. The horse, I won a lot of money on Silent Tactic in the Southwest.
You and me both, buddy.
Well, we were probably pretty unique because I don't think I heard many people talking about this horse before the race.
No, 12-1. It was a nice one.
Absolutely. And, both you and I, we always subscribe to be there for the wedding and not the divorce party or the funeral.
Exactly.
But I do think, this horse might have another move forward. And, potentially if there's a pace in front of it, the 10 on the outside soldier and diplomat, maybe he hooks up with litmus test. So I kind of want to boxcar this race. I want if they leave litmus test alone, I think he wires it. If they hook up and are battling 2 or 3, I think that will set up nicely for silent tactics. So that's kind of how I want to attack this race.
2-7 in terms of the official picks and 3-4 more as backups, or leave them out completely.
I'll leave them out. Let's try to beat those.
All right, I like it. I was going to ask you about the workout pattern on Blackout Time. This is horseman stuff. So this horse famously was on the vets list, controversially and famously, from Breeders' Cup. And then, so at Oaklawn, do they have to work for the vets at Oaklawn before they can re-enter?
No, and I thought the same thing. Why they had this horse down at the fairgrounds, they ship up to Oaklawn, and then they ship back to the fairgrounds.
I just assumed it was they had to work in front of those, but that's not the case. You would know, right?
Yeah, it's not the case.
Interesting.
I don't know what's going on there.
That's just too bizarre. It's like, it almost makes me think it's a misprint. I mean, that's how weird it is, right? Why would you ship a horse that you didn't have to ship?
I definitely don't think it's a misprint. I mean, if you want to get conspiracy theories, maybe you have different rules at places on vet work, etc. I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of things that if you want to go down a rabbit hole, it doesn't make sense now. And weather-wise, that this was after they got
right. It's not weather related, right? I mean. Yeah. Unfortunately, I did the newsboy cap for the show today, not the tinfoil hat. So we probably don't need to go too far down that particular rabbit hole. But it's interesting. It'll be fascinating to see how he runs. I mean, I like the horse. I shouted it out on the Rebel video that we did. We're working with these guys, morningline.io, where it's basically like a trading platform where you can buy and sell horses. And you can, but my way of expressing my opinion on Blackout Time is probably going to be to just buy shares of him on Morning Line, because then you're not just buying today, you're buying
right.
You're buying the future.
Let me put my trader hat on.
Yeah,
I think you got to, you can do what you're saying is buy, before the earnings release. I might be buying after the earnings release. If he runs poorly here, I do think this is a talented horse. Might not be the spot they're pointing for. So you go in, buy value after the race, and now you're long for the Kentucky Derby.
It's a fun.
You can attack it 2 ways.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. We're gonna try to do a show about portfolio building next week. Mikey P and me. It's an interesting edition of the Rebel, but it sure sounds like it. As much as you think Litmus Test is the one here, feels like Blackout Time would be the one you might want going forward.
Absolutely. I just think that this is a horse that was an early developer, and the way this track is playing, this is the horse I want today. But if you ask me who I'd rather own for the Derby or for later in the year, Blackout Time all day.
If folks are curious, I have to give our URL. I don't want them just going over to the site and then not knowing we sent them. Morningline.io/ITM. That'll get you a little benefit over there, and it'll certainly benefit and help us out. Check it out. It's a cool new way of playing the horses. You're actually one of the people I really should sit down and talk with about this, given your day job. But we'll save that conversation for another time, because we have a nightcap to get to. And this one is for state breds, Archie breds. A lot of money here, 110, 6 furlongs on the dirt. How are we going to get paid, my friend?
So this is an interesting race, and of course they're going to throw Archie breds to really mess up all the out-of-town people, and pulling their hair out. Why are we ending with Archie breds? There's a horse in here, the number 3 Stevie Kicks, that got sawed off in the break last time on debut. I think this horse might have a little bit more speed than it shows on paper and is drawn inside. I think this horse is really interesting at a 20-1 price with a bug that's talented. But in this race, I'm going to use the 3 inside horses, starting like number 1 with Irad. Ran okay last time against state bred maiden 50s, and we'll have to step up, into maiden special. I'm including this one because if I'm live for a big ticket and I see Irad starting on a golden rail and don't have him on sides, I'm going to be like, wanting to go throw up. So,
yeah.
I'm gonna keep him. The number 2, Artemis Sparkles, showed speed last time, starting inside, and a 15-1 horse. Maybe improved second time off. So I want to keep him on my ticket. And then lastly, the 7, who's the morning line favorite, is the only 4-year-old filly in this race, getting Lasix for the first time, improved quite a bit. Ran second both starts, but was stepping up in company last time and went from a 34 to 66. If she has another move forward with the Lasix, and the older horse should be able to get it done against these. So I'm 1, 2, 3, 7.
In that order, or did you mention the 3 first?
Well, if you were going to grade it, I would probably have 3 and 7 as A's and 1 and 2 as B's.
Yeah, I like giving the people that information, just depending on what their budgets are, etc. Okay, we promised that we might add a spot play or 2. What else do you like on the early portion of this card?
Yeah, so in a contest play, if you want to take the Matt Miller approach and get aggressive early and maybe put some of your chips all in the first race, I like the 3. I'm gonna let you pronounce this.
Let's see what we got here. I'm a race away. We've got for the 3, and then of course they're all horses that have run 1,000,000 times, so it's hard for me to get to it. This is Gewürztraminer, the wine, named after the wine. I can do that one.
There you go. So another reason why I have you here for pronunciations of complicated wines.
We've got a Gethsemane, we've got a Gewürztraminer. They're definitely testing the vocabulary.
They are, especially for the Southern guy. I mean, give me a break here. I just think this horse it has some speed. If the rail continues to be good, we'll probably be favored, but I just think we can accept the lower price on this horse and either bet to win or using doubles. In the next race, it was Northern Chill that 10 Strike has. Had a pretty brutal trip, missed the break last time, or dwelt, and ran incredibly well. Go back, and I encourage people to go back and watch that race. But I think this horse has some talent and is well spotted, starting inside, and we get Ortiz on board. I think that might be an interesting little early double, 1 in the first race and 2 in the second.
Love it. Anything else, or does that? I was going to. Great. My last question. Perfect. My last question was going to be about your horse, but since came up in the spot plays, we do not have to. We do not have to worry about that one. Great stuff. Really appreciate having you on, my friend, and we'll do it again soon. Whether it's Oaklawn or bringing you in to talk about other stuff. But I love your approach, and obviously really appreciate the way you guys have been supportive of us since day one, and continue to be being so generous with your knowledge and helping us provide the content. If folks are really hardcore and looking for more on this Rebel Day, I was also able to help out our mutual buddy, Duke Matisse, over at his website, dukespicks.com. Did a little show with him that'll be archived over there. Folks want to check that out, go to dukespicks.com. That's Picks. Apparently there's a similar named site, so he told me to specify that. And we've got a promo code there too, ITM10, if you want to check that out. But Clay, we'll be talking soon. Really appreciate you.
Appreciate having me on, Pete.
Excellent. Make sure to check out the Twin Spires contest options over at twinspires.com and just navigate over to the tournaments tab. We'll thank 10 Strike again. We'll thank our friends, our charity partners over at Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. Most of all, though, I don't do this a lot on the videos. I need to start doing it more. I want to thank all of you, the listeners, the viewers that are keeping our counts on these videos nice and high. Please subscribe, hit a like on this video. That stuff all helps us very much. This show's been a production of In the Money Media. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. May you win all your photos.